A very good afternoon to you tuned in to UBC TV. Welcome to our lunchtime news. My name is Michael Jadandukomwa. This Tuesday, the 29th of October, 2019. The German ambassador to Uganda, Abridge Konzi, has urged the office of the Prime Minister to expedite the process of bringing refugee fraud culprits to book. His appeal comes as Uganda prepares to participate in the upcoming International Forum on Refugees slated for December in Geneva. State Minister for Disaster and Refugees Musa Ichweru underscores the need for collective responsibility in addressing the refugee challenge. This was during a high-level consultation meeting on refugee response in Uganda held at the Kampala Serena Hotel.
We see tangible progress with regard to bringing to justice those that have been suspected of being at the root of these irregularities 1.5 years ago. We have had assurances from both IGG and DPP recently when the inspectors from UNHCR and WFP came here to inspect their own organizations and also had a dialogue with the Ugandan government. I think it is now extremely important that these investigations come to a close quickly and that we do not continue to have the impression that someone is trying to slow them down. I must unfortunately say it that bluntly. This is not the way to go. You want to give a shining example on how Africans care for their brothers and sisters a few weeks from now, and it should be shining. It should not be tarnished by leftovers from events that we all want to turn the page on. So please include us in this determination. We want this to go away now.
I appreciate that the partners have raised the question of corruption. It is true that the ministry of the Office of the Prime Minister was dogged at one time with issues of corruption and including some elements of the UN. But it's also true over the years we have put into place robust mechanisms to clean our system. Some of the people interdicted and investigated, and the investigation has been slow but progressing well, in my opinion. And what the international community is asking is, when do we bring these people to justice? And that we are going to accelerate. So this is the reason why we decided to have this consultative meeting, to keep the agenda of refugees and the host communities alive in the minds of our partners and all those who support us.
Away from the refugee discussions, South Korean embassy is in a campaign to identify capable local companies to partner with in this transfer of technology and joint venture investment in order to boost business relationships. This was during a Uganda-Korea business seminar which is hosted over 1,000 people from the public and private sectors, civil society institutions, among others.
Importance.
Uganda is to benefit from the government of South Korea by sourcing them Korean investors to partner with the locals in the transfer of technology and joint venture business. All this was during the Uganda-Korea Business Seminar preparing the Business Symposium, which is scheduled for next year in South Korea. South Korean Ambassador Byung Cho-ha says members will share knowledge and experience on the investment.
Today's seminar is basically about how to boost the business relations between our two countries. You know, Korea has a long history of its relations with Uganda. It started in 1963, right after the independence of Uganda. We established our Korean embassy here in Kampala in 2000. And since then, our two countries have developed very strong relations. In 2013, His Excellency President Museveni visited Korea, and in 2016, the Korean President Park, then President Park, visited Kampala.
Ugandans will get skills, funds and technology to boost their businesses. Bokanya Ibrahim and Joel Vubia reporting for UBC TV News.
A section of members of parliament have challenged government to come up with policies that regulate generational tuition increment in all education institutions across the country. Members of Parliament want the Ministry of Education to come up with a policy that will protect students.
Why is it that a university wakes up every morning and adds the tuition without consultation? Every university, even primary schools, even secondary schools. I sit in the Committee of Education, we agreed this with the Minister of Education, and they said no. As the ministry must pass a policy that before the tuition increment, the ministry must have a meeting with the stakeholders and agree. Because they know the economy, how it is standing.
In 2018, Makerere University made a tuition increment of all undergraduate programs for first-year students by 15%, which took precedent beginning 2018-2019 academic year. The 15% fees increment was to be successively continued for each cohort on the fees for the previous academic year over a 5-year period. For a student who joins the university at a given fee structure, the 15% factored in until completion of the course, although the outgoing guild supported the proposal which seemingly did not receive support from students. It became a strategy for the new leadership to take on the matter fresh.
Right now,
Members of Parliament say the proposal was misunderstood and not highly consulted upon by relevant stakeholders.
We need Makerere as the highest institution of learning in this country to involve the parents, to involve the student leadership. There must be room for negotiation. A strike means they have tried all means to reach, and you are not giving them room to access.
we can't resolve everything through fighting, fixing, doing all sorts of things that undermine the credibility of the highest institution in the country.
They have poked holes on the 15% proposal, which they say was not well researched.
Should also come up with a very strong policy on private students, on government-sponsored students. We should have caps on school fees and school dues. Otherwise, everybody comes up with a due. It says, starting next year, I will be demanding this much money from a student.
Just calling the government to listen to these students. This is a public institution.
The chairperson Education Committee, Richard Opolot, says the committee is pushing to see that institutions of learning have a streamlined tuition structure or fees payment with regulated increments.
We need to have a policy that cuts across all the public universities to guide when and how fees increments are made. But this is what the government has not yet done.
So far, Makerere University students have vowed not to give up until their issue is resolved. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
We'll now take you straight to business news, and there, the Mbarara RDC Lieutenant Colonel James Mwesije has encouraged civil society organizations to be open in their sensitization programs to promote name and shame system among suspected corrupt officials to supplement government efforts in the fight against corruption. Mwesije was at a dialogue for political and technical stakeholders from Mbarara area on managing the tolerance in the 2021 general election. He said that as government, they are fighting corruption, exposing and arresting corrupt officials. We apologize for that mix-up. We'll have that story later on in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Uganda Registration Services Bureau and Stanbic Bank have partnered to provide access to digital platforms by the URSB subscribers to Stanbic Bank services. The two bodies are to integrate ICT systems and provide timely digital solutions. Bemanya Trevaze, the Registrar General, URSB, says that this is one of the strategic and innovative ways to add value to service provision.
Most of the times you find me and my colleagues going to your bank, we come for salary loans. But those Chikubo people you see down there every evening, they are carrying Bugera actually banking money. They have huge amounts of money. And what we've done as Uganda Registration Services Bureau is that we have formalized most of those businesses you think are Chikubo people. When you go on our register, you'll be amazed that most of them are registered, they have bank accounts, they are transacting in a formal way. What does that mean? What we are doing today is that Chikubo person, if tomorrow is going to apply for a loan to import whatever they want to import or do whatever business they need to do, instead of the process delaying, Stanbic Bank will be, after we've leveraged our APIs, we'll be able to get that information instantly, so that instead of this Chikubo person waiting the bank for 4 hours, they'll wait for 10 minutes. That's how it benefits.
It's in Chikubo and probably low, but it won't stay like that forever. I think what we're doing here is showing leadership. At the end of the day, even all those small businesses will get to this point of digitizing. Just think about the tax compliance and the issues many years ago. They said a lot of businesses, informal businesses, were not tax compliant. If you look at it today, even shopkeepers at the bottom of the pyramid are now compliant. So it's just a matter of time. Thank you.
That is all we had for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukumwa. Enjoy our next program. Bye-bye.